Hey everyone, I figured to make a quick video showing what I'm up to now. I'm working on the 4KW Onan. As you can see, this tank has to come out. For those of you who do not know really what this tank is, no, it's not a boat tank. Canadian Tire used to sell these as a stand-up gas tank. You fill it through here, and you have a spigot that came out down here with a hand pump. Basically, they're designed to hang on the wall or roll around. It had wheels. I believe I got the wheels somewhere, unless I threw them out. I saw them when I did the floor, but I think I may have threw them out since then. But anyways, this is what it is. And it's fairly big. I know there's a label on here somewhere that shows how big it is. And the only thing is, this thing does have fuel in it. So some pretty raunchy fuel in it. But me, being the cheap redneck that I am, I'm still going to be burning this fuel. As you can see, there is a fair bit of fuel in there. I don't know if I saw it or not. So I will be reusing this fuel, even though it is bad and it's pretty raunchy. I'll just re-dilute it with some premium 50/50, and not in this container. I'll drain it out into my normal gas can. But what I'm thinking the problem is, it's either the fuel pump. So I did not test the fuel pump, but I knew I wasn't getting fuel anyways. Or it's this line here is plugged. It's just a standard steel fuel line that actually have this sticking down into the tank. When I get it out, I will show what it looks like. And down here, they have a shut off, and this is actually screwed in. So I should be able to unscrew this here, and it should pull out. I took the top plywood off, or OSB, whatever you want to call it, off just to get some more access to this. And once this comes off, I'm going to be putting on this top fill tank from the Parts Craftsman. It's a little bit smaller, actually quite a bit smaller, but it's a much better tank. Or I can also use a rear fill tank, which I have about 3, 4, 5 of them sitting around. I got quite a few of them, so I can either use this tank here or a rear fill tank. It doesn't really matter. And if for whatever reason, if I need this tank, if one of the other ones breaks, I can easily get this back off the generator and just put one of the rear fill tanks on there. So that's what I'm up to right now. It's still quite rainy out, and the diesel's finished. The work I had to do on that, I added a light. But anyways, there's where I'm at on this. Just going to get it torn down, and hopefully get that tank out and start draining that tank. Okay, got this apart. Surprisingly, this ball valve still operates. I forgot to mention there's a bottom ball valve right here. Then there's a ball valve right here. This end here is where the hose would have been. And this is actually what was just down into the tank. So this sat down in there like that. There's a bent bit more, but I had to get it out. As you can see, the gleaminess, there's probably quite a bit of fuel in this tank. It's going to take a bit to drain out. This piece here is clearly garbage. The tank could be saved. Actually, if you really were desperate, you could actually save this. Yes, that's JB Weld. And here I just snapped off the fitting. I was working at it back and forth, because these threads here thread into this collar right here, and it was stuck. So I just had to play around with it a bit, and I ended up snapping off the fuel line, but not a big deal. I also found a fuel leak right here. It was already leaking, or it started leaking whenever I started moving this around and getting this apart. Also, this fuel pump, I might end up moving it. I don't know yet. It's convenient where it is, because it actually has a hard line that went up to here. And instead of having to rebend the hard line, that's basically why I put it here. It used to be over this side, or it was on the other side. I don't quite remember. I did do some reworking with it, basically to make it more convenient at the time. But if I do keep it here, I'll come off of here, fuel line, and come down. Be careful of the muffler, which actually that can be moved, and come to the back somewhere, and have the fuel cell. Also, if that fuel cell, it can actually sit flat on here, and the fuel line will come straight out. It does not need a hole in on the base. It does have a sump in it, but that's where the fuel pickup is, but it does not need that. You can sit flat on here, and I just have to make a brace to hold it, and have to relocate the battery. But with a smaller fuel tank, I might be able to turn it sideways and have the battery sitting sideways as well. Have the fuel tank on one side, the battery on the opposite side. Keep the sparks away from everything, just in case of some arcs. Never know. You always want to be safe than sorry when dealing with fuel and the battery. Okay, got it draining now. As you can see, that is the color of the gas. Pretty brown. I looked for a pump. I have one somewhere, an electric one. Basically stick the one end in. It's actually a low pressure fuel pump, electric fuel pump, but I could not find it. So I ended up resorting to doing it this method right here. I have another electric, but I'm pretty sure it's burned out. It's actually from the other Onan generator. I'm pretty sure it's burned out, unfortunately. So I'm still hoping this one here might still have some life left in it, and it was just really, really bad fuel, and that's what was causing the problems. But with the new tank, it's going to be a lot easier to drain it out if need be. This is not fuel safe hose, so while it's draining, I'm not going to go very far. It's actually off that roll right there. And just going to get it down to as low as I can. I originally tried to drain it from the spigot, but it just sprayed out way too much, and it was uncontrollable. So resorted to siphoning, which does work, which was going to be my next best thing to do anyways. But yeah, I got some brown gas. Let's see if we can just take a quick look at the fuel without making it lose the siphon. There it is right there. Yeah, it's pretty brown. I thought it was the partly due to the line making it that color, but it's not. It's pretty brown. So this is going in, and it's bent right into this corner right here. So in a second, I'm going to lift up on the back, put a block of wood under there, so it forces the most amount of fuel to the front. I'm not going to get absolutely every drop, but I'm going to get a majority of it. It's probably going to fill up this entire container. That's another thing I gotta watch for. Make sure this container doesn't get too full, and if it does, I gotta go to a different container relatively quick. So this will probably conclude this video. I don't think I'm gonna get done anything else on this. I'm not gonna get the new tank pulled yet. I'll do that maybe next weekend, weather permitting. But under here, under my little shelter I built, actually I finished and I tarped it. It's actually not bad. Blocked from the wind at the back pretty good. Got a couple tractors sitting here. It's also helping to block it. And it's actually not that bad under here. And when the snow does come, if it does come, most likely we'll not get snow under here. So this is actually an extra 8x8 workspace for the shop for the winter, which is actually pretty good. I was going to close it in on two sides, but I've never really got around to doing that. I could still do it. We'll see. Finish closing on that side right there, and put another tarp right here, fully closing in this side. We'll see. So I'll talk to everyone later. Please keep it redneck like always, and please comment.